Like, yeah, women were getting screwed over, but then again, it was also bankers and like the government that had, like the CIA, for example, that was helping Gloria Steinman. You know, with like helping fund Gloria Steinman of Ms. Magazine. You know, because essentially, if you look at it this way, from a business standpoint, you know, well, we're liberating women so they can work and do all this other shit. Well, the reality of it is, I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a noble cause at all, but you look at it this way, because women were getting screwed over back then. But if you look at it this way, you think about it, women, at least in the United States, it's approximately a 52% to 48% spread. Okay. Which means that there are more women than men. Which means that if only men are working, you're only collecting less than half the amount of tax revenue that you could be collecting. Which means that yes, there are people with certain interests that are going to fund a feminist movement.
Yeah.
Just, if anything, just to get the extra revenue and taxes. I mean, you know, so the Rockefeller Foundation actually did fund the feminist movement, but it wasn't because they gave a shit. It was because they wanted more money, but also, I mean, the other thing is also if you get both parents out of the household, then who raises the children? Well, the state does. They look at the state and, you know, schools and other things as being their family. So then that means that they're easier to split apart. That was all planned, and then, you know, that means that basically kids are easier to split apart from their families now because they don't have one to begin with. Because the mom is not staying home, you know, holding the fort down while the man's away working, right? And in turn, children become more susceptible to socialism, which that's exactly what's happened. It's exactly what's happened in the States. So that all completely orchestrated, went completely accordingly to plan, and that's why you kind of joked about it with or brought up like a foreign threat of like aliens, like an alien invasion. I completely believe that might be used in the same way that you know, some people argue that World War I was allowed to happen so that, at the very least, allowed to happen so that we would come up with the idea of the UN and we would have all nations under one belt, and we would have a world, you know, governance of some kind. In the same way that I think that the idea of a foreign invasion of aliens, whether real or fake, might be used for the same thing. I think it's a very possible thing. I mean, if the whole idea of the UN crumbles, because right now the European Union is starting to crumble. That's the thing. I mean, that idea is starting to crumble. Right now, with the North American Union, I mean, there's talks about getting rid of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. I mean, that might be a thing as well. We might be getting rid of that as well. And I mean, it's speculated that something like that might be used to kind of get the world, you know, quote, united, you know. But the problem here, just like whether it's sexual orientation or whether it's your gender, right? Or whether, really not sexual orientation. Orientation's it's not consequential here in this discussion, but whether you consider yourself, like, no matter what gender you consider yourself to be, whether male or female, or whether you let's say believe in global warming or not, or whether you are, let's say when transhumanism comes, whether you believe that mankind merging machines with themselves is a good or a bad idea. It all is kind of playing together as basically making people expendable. And let me
kind of are.
Well, are we, or do you think that we are?
Well, I'll put it this way. I think a society that doesn't allow women the quote-unquote freedom to...
That's my alarm, sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
It's time to get up.
A society that doesn't take advantage of allowing its women to educate themselves and to seek professional careers rather than getting stuck as you know, in the house. I think it's losing.
I'm not saying that because we tend to deal on the extremes. You don't believe in the feminist movement and therefore you hate women.
Oh no. Yeah,
But
I'm not
like,
ashamed for a second.
I'm not saying that women should not go get educated and get a job and have a career of some kind. But at the same time, it's gotten to the point to where people think it's wrong if you're holding the fort down at home. Like it's taboo. That's why, like, yeah, have you heard the slogan, conservatism is the new counterculture?
No.
Again, it was Paul Joseph Watson that started that. He's in the UK, by the way. You might want to check him out. But it's true. It's absolutely true. Conservatism is the new counterculture. It's taboo. It's taboo to even mention that a woman's place is in the home, holding the family together. It's taboo. You can't say that. But what's the reality? The reality of it is, I'm a man, and I'm not going to be giving birth to a child anytime soon. And I can't breastfeed a child. I can't nurse a child. I'm not designed. And typically, women tend to be more caring. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. It's just how things are. And I'm speaking in generalities. Okay, I'm not. It doesn't mean it's always going to be the case. But generally speaking, women are more caring. They have, you know, their emotions rule over them. That's just how it is. I think that's definitely true. Regardless, I think emotions do still rule over women. That's just how it is. It's just how they are. It's how they're wired.
There's nothing wrong with it, yeah.
But I didn't say it was good or bad. I didn't say that. I said that's how they are. And not only that, so biologically, as well as mentally. Oh my God. I was trying to get on the gun and I don't know what's going on. I'm lagging.
Yeah, some of the lag is pretty bad.
Hey.
Don't worry, I have anti-air up.
How do I get on the gun?
F. Sorry, F. Yeah.
To pay respects. But that's the thing. I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I wish growing up that I had that. I wish that I had a household. I wish I had a nuclear household. Because I didn't have it, and that means that I appreciate it so much. And a lot of these fuckers are, you know, the kids that... I'm not gonna say a lot of them because most people don't have it, I don't think. And at least in the United States anymore, but... A lot of people that do have it take it for granted, I think. But I think it's a great thing. I think that, you know, I think that a family should be knitted together and eat dinner together and, you know, be involved and, you know. And that
definitely.
But that's the other thing is by not saying that, you know, because come on, scientifically, men and women are fucking different. Okay, I don't give a fuck who says otherwise. It's just how it is. We just are, you know. But by taking our roles out, what you're doing is you're making us interchangeable and therefore expendable. You know what I mean? And the same thing goes for. The same thing goes for once the transhumanist movement, once that picks up traction in, I'm going to say about 10 years, about 10 to 12 years, we'll have that. Then you're going to start seeing, because we're going to integrate machines with humans, you're going to see humans as machines and therefore expendable. Especially at that point. I mean, how populated will the world be then? Fuck. I think right now we're at, what, 7 billion people on the Earth? We'll probably reach 9 billion.
Well, first of all, yeah, I'm just as old-fashioned with regards to that, and you know, the point is fair.
Yes, Aaron, thank you for the follow. And welcome to the viewership.
Where you say that, I mean, since our ancestors' time,
Sorry about that.
you know, we've kind of evolved having two different roles that, you know, had nothing to do with what we could do about it. We couldn't do much about it. Nowadays you can. If you don't want to be a particular sex, you can change it. If you don't,
I don't believe so. Your chromosomes are the same.
you can't, yeah, but I mean, you can now go full modular. Technologies like CRISPR.
Yeah, to a degree, yeah. But
technologies like CRISPR will allow genetic modification of human beings, so soon you'll have that as well. How soon depends on... Yeah, go.
Well, I mean, and then that's also a problem because the thing is, it's kind of like if you ever seen the movie Kung Fu Panda.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you guys haven't
I
seen it,
loved it.
it's on Netflix. You should absolutely watch it because the movie
Absolutely, yeah.
it's
Definitely.
completely about self-acceptance.
Yes.
And really, because the thing is, people get sex changes, and because there's a depression rate among people that feel like they were born as the wrong gender, right? But then they get sex changes, and you know what? The depression doesn't go away. And really, let's be fucking honest here. Since when the fuck do people know what they want? When has that ever happened?
How dare you?
Well, I mean, realistically, like, okay, what is the divorce rate again? Sorry? When the fuck do people know what they want? When have we just accepted that? That's just how things are, you know?
I think...
I don't believe that. And especially if it's children, my god, their brain is still fucking developing. You know what I mean? At least wait until somebody's a freaking adult, you know?
But the thing is, that's something I'm thinking about as well. That's something I do think a lot about. But then I think to myself, and well, maybe that's because, you know, we start from there. That's as much as we know. You know, we take the kind of, you know, evolutionary biological, you know, the way things were done for millions of years, and we accept those as the norm. But the fact of the matter is that once we get to a point where we can turn our desires into reality, there is no longer a norm. It breaks that steady, you know, change.
If we can.
And, yeah, I mean, you know, like good example of this is a documentary called Modify.
Story of Icarus, man. You gotta fly in the middle ground. You can't go too high and you can't go too low.
I know, but if you watch this documentary, it's basically about people, you know, about why people get tattoos and why people get piercings, and you know, some people say, I like the quote of one gentleman who said, listen, you know, for some people a earring is too much.
A tattoo,
some people
right?
that's
Yeah.
or a tattoo, it's too much. And he says, well, for me, cutting my ears off and putting them up, you know, high on my head because I want to look like a cat. It's
Turning
actually
into an
the
elf.
beginning of it.
Turning into an elf.
It's just, yeah, or cat or whatever. He says that's just the beginning for me. He says that's normal, and then I can go up from there.
Well, and I'm not saying like that's another thing, like marking your body, but it's still your body. But like what I'm saying is like, okay, this is what people need to understand. Even people that model for a living, okay, their job is to fucking look good and be eye candy for other people like you and I.
Yeah.
People pay them to fucking do that, and they pay them very fucking well, okay? If they look good, if a model, if like a glamour girl, like in the UK, they're sexy. That's what they call them, right? Glamour girls.
I think so.
They're sexy. They'll pay a lot of fucking money for some photography work. Okay, that's just how it is. But, and you know what? Like this whole thing with men being disadvantaged, I can't do that shit. But you know what? The whole thing is, it's not that women are disadvantaged. It's that when men are fucked over, we just don't bitch about it as much. That's the truth. When I was, no, legit. I mean, when I was 17 years old, when I was 16 and 17, I worked shit jobs. Like I worked as a dishwasher, okay, in a restaurant. And you know what? All the women got to be servers. And you know what? They made more money than I did. And do you know why? Because they had a cute ass in the tight pants that they wore. And you know, they could show a nice smile to the customers, and they would give them money for that. And I'm totally for that. I'm totally fine with that. I'll take a pay cut for that. But I you know what I mean? I'm just not. That's the thing is, me and a lot of other men accept that. That you know, you go to a Hooters restaurant and you tip them good money because they look good in the attire that they wear. I mean, that's just how shit is. So
yeah.
This whole idea, but you have to accept yourself. Like, but even people that model, everybody has something they don't like about themselves. That's the thing. It's just like, if somebody has curly hair, they want straight hair. If somebody has straight hair, they want curly hair. That's just how it is. If somebody is a brunette, they want blonde hair. If someone's a blonde, they want brunette hair. They just want something else. They want to not be themselves. And at the end of the day, like, we all have to, during our experience of life, we have to learn to accept ourselves, you know? And beautiful women are some of the most insecure people you'll meet. This is just the fucking truth, especially models. Especially people that we pay money to Because we've already acknowledged that they look good. But no, they're fucking insecure.